Hi, fifth graders. Today's lesson is lesson 12-4, convert metric units of length. We use metric units of length because that is what's most commonly used worldwide when measuring length. For example, if you go to Canada, you'll see that the miles is measured in kilometers and not miles. That is why we learn this. So right now I want you to pause the video, write the lesson title of 12-4, convert metric units of length, and also write the I can statement. I can convert metric units of length. Write this at the top of your paper in your math notebook, and then push play to continue. The next slide is the vocabulary that you'll need to know for this lesson. You will need to know the conversions of kilometers, meters, centimeters, and millimeters. Notice that when they do these vocabulary words, they start with the biggest and end with the smallest. In your notebook, you'll need to write kilometer and note that kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. Write that a meter is 100 centimeters. You need to write that a centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters, and 1,000 millimeters is equal to 1 meter. After you're finished writing these notes in your notebook, press play to continue. Next, I want you to look at the solve and share problem. It says measure the length of your book in centimeters, then measure it in millimeters. What do you notice about the two? For this activity, I want you to think or use 21.5 as the measurement of a book. So right now, I want you to pause the video to see how you would solve to find how many millimeters long the book was. When you're finished trying to figure this out, press play to continue. Also remember to refer to your notes to see what the conversions are. Now that we're back to the video, let's go ahead and take another look at the problem. Measure the length of your book in centimeters, which we said that we are going to use the length of 21.5 or 21 and 5/10 centimeters. Then measure in millimeters. What do you notice about the two measurements? So in this box here, it already tells us or gives us a conversion example. So 1 centimeter equals blank millimeters. Well, if I go back in my notes and see here that 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. Remember, it's always important to go back and look at your notes for help. So 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. We said the measurement of our book in centimeters was 21 and 5/10, or 21 and a half centimeters long. We want to convert that to millimeters without having to measure. So if I were to do this, I would think of that catchy song that we've been using to convert measurements. First step is write the equation. So my equation is 21.5 centimeters is equal to how many millimeters? Second step is write what you know, what you know, what you know. We know that 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. Third step is bigger to smaller or smaller to bigger. Now remember, if you're going bigger to smaller, you multiply. If you go smaller to bigger, you divide. In this case, we are going from centimeters to millimeters, which is bigger to smaller. So our problem would be, or I guess the next step is, after we figure out if we multiply or divide, we need to, fourth step is solve the equation. So 21 and 5/10 centimeters times, we multiply because we want bigger to smaller, times 10 equals, and the good thing is when I'm multiplying by tens, all I have to do is move the decimal point. We know when we multiply, our number is bigger So we move the decimal to the right. I have 1 0. So I know I move the decimal 1 place. So my answer is 215. So 21 and 5/10 centimeters times 10 gives me the number of millimeters that the pencil, or that the book is. Let's see what other people did to solve this problem. Here's Aaron's work. Aaron took the length of the book of 21 and 5/10 centimeters. He measured the book at 215 millimeters. So he came up with the problem. He wrote what he knows, or like Aaron probably did. He writes what he knows, what he knows, what he knows. And he took 21.5 centimeters times 10, because he knew that 1 centimeter equals 10. Here he has 21.5 centimeters, and he wants to make it into millimeters, so he knows there's 10 within each centimeter, so he multiplies to get the answer of 215. Here's Peyton's work. He wrote what the measurement was. He wrote what he knew, which I think is very important when you're solving these problems. And then he did the multiplication as well, just doing the multiples of 10, seeing that the decimal point's here, knowing he's moving the decimal to the right because he's multiplying to make it bigger, making it 215 millimeters. So now here's a bigger practice problem. This problem has multiple steps. This problem reads, Jin is training for the 50-meter dash. Each day that he trains, he runs the dash 6 times. Last week, he trained for 4 days. This week, he trained for 5 days. In 2 weeks, how many kilometers has Jin run? Okay, so let's start with cubes. First, we circle the numbers. We know that Jin is training for a 50-meter dash. Each day that he runs the dash 6 times. Last week, he trained for 4 days. This week, he trained for 5 days. In 2 weeks, how many kilometers has Jin run? Next, we need to underline the question. How many kilometers has Jin run? When I underline the question, not only do I want to underline it, but I also want to rewrite it to really think about what I need to do to get the correct answer that it's really asking me to do. So when I answer this question, I should be able to answer by saying Jin ran length kilometers in 2 weeks. That's how I want to answer my question. Next, I need to box the keywords. So we know he's training for a 50-meter dash. We know that is the length. I can't spell. Each day that he runs the dash, he runs it 6 times. That's important on how many times he goes around. We know that he trained for 4 days that week. We know this week he trained for 5 days. And I think it's also important to know that we're talking about his training for the duration of 2 weeks. And we need to box that this answer is going to be in kilometers. Notice that when we talk about this to begin with, it's talking in meters. But when we answer it, we're going to have to convert the problem or the answer to kilometers. Now, once we've done that, we need to evaluate and visualize this problem. So first, I want to take this step by step because there is a lot of steps to this problem. First of all, I know that I'm going to draw out my 50-meter dash. Okay, this is 50 meters. I know that Jin runs this 6 times to practice each day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is how much he runs it every day. He runs a 50-meter dash 6 times a day to practice. Now, let's figure out how much he runs each day. He runs 50 meters, and he does that 6 times. 5 times 6 is 3, and my 0, so he runs 50 meters a day. Now it wants to talk about how much he runs in 2 weeks. Well, the first week, or I guess last week, he ran 4 days. So now I know that one day he runs 300 meters. One day he runs 300 meters. Last week he ran that 4 days. 4 times 3 is 12. Add on my 2 zeros. So that was the first week. Now I need to solve how much he runs the second week. So this week he ran to practice 5 days a week. So again, each day he runs 300 meters. That week he ran it 5 days. 3 times 5 is 15. Add my 2 zeros. He ran 1,500 meters the second week. So it's asking me in 2 weeks how much did he run. So I need to add week 1 with week 2. For a total of 2,700 meters. Oh, I'm not done yet, am I? Even though I solved how long or how much he ran in 2 weeks, it is in meters, and the question wants to know how much it is in kilometers. So this is where I need to do my conversions. So first step is write the equation. So my equation is 2,700 meters is equal to blank kilometers. Second step is write what you know, what you know, what you know. When I go back to my notes, right here, it says that 1,000 kilometers is, or sorry, 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. So I know now that there is 1,000 meters and it equals 1 kilometer. Third step is bigger to smaller or smaller to bigger. I'm going from meters to kilometers. So I'm going smaller to bigger, which means that I divide. So now that I know I need to divide, I have my problem. My problem is, or I guess step 4 is solve the equation. 2,700 divided by 1,000 equals, so remember, I'm working with 2,700 meters. I'm dividing it by 1,000 because I know there is 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So that's how I'm going to solve it. When I do this, I'm going to divide. Remember, when I divide, I need to move my decimal to the left. And how many places do I move my decimal? 1, 2, 3. Because I have 3 zeros when I'm working with multiples of 10, I know I can just look at my zeros and know how many places to move my decimal. So now I can move my decimal 1, 2, 3. So my answer is 2.7 kilometers. So now I know that Jen ran 2.7 kilometers in 2 weeks. And then you have to ask yourself, does that make sense? If I'm going from smaller to bigger, would it make sense if he ran 2,700 meters Would that equal to 2.7 kilometers? And yes, that would make sense. Now that we're done with this lesson, I want you to summarize your own thinking in your math notebook. And again, be ready to share it with someone at home and show them how you came up with this. Go over your notes and how you are doing conversions and how you know to go bigger to smaller or smaller to bigger to get the accurate calculations. Good luck on your work today.